We'll proceed in vector and commercial calculus. Vector and commercial calculus. Vector and commercial calculus. Vector, vector or energy calculus. Rather, vector or energy calculus. That is the topic that we are pursuing. Amazing, mind blowing. Okay, what is the topic? What is the discussion that we are making? If an item is moving, if an item is moving, then there is energy involved. Whatever we are talking, this is not available in any of the book. So book generally it talks about work done and vector field and this and that mathematics stuff. In real life, this is the vector. When vector comes into the picture, energy comes into the picture. Vector is energy source which has a direction and magnitude. And energy, when energy is moving, then it has a direction and magnitude. Okay, this is moving. If this is moving, I consider this as energy, which has a direction, which has a direction, which has a direction and magnitude. A vector is energy which has a direction and magnitude. I'm not saying that without vector, you cannot go with the energy calculation. After all, Einstein talked about the greatest scientist that ever seen in the recent era, uh, uh, Sir Albert Einstein, Mr. Albert Einstein. He talked about energy. Nowhere he talked about vector and here energy equal to mc square. If mass is moving at velocity c, if there is a mass and it is moving at velocity c, then energy that it is carrying is mass into velocity square. Energy is more dependent upon velocity and energy is less dependent upon the mass. If you grow the mass, the energy that it contains will grow. If an item of 1 kg is moving at velocity of c or v, then whatever energy it contains, if the item is 2 kg, then net energy it contains is double of it. If item has mass m and it has velocity of 1, then energy it contains is m into 1. But if velocity doubles from 1 to 2, it happens, the energy becomes 4 square. If the velocity becomes 3 times, then energy is 9 times. If velocity goes 10 times, energy grows 100 times. This is what Mr. Einstein is saying. So energy is more dependent upon velocity than the mass. This is Mr. Einstein's theory, Sir Einstein's theory. Okay, if a mass is moving at a velocity, that much energy it is containing. If I drop this, it is gaining energy. If I drop this and this moment I catch it, I feel thrust on my hand because it had velocity. If it has velocity, consider at this moment, it has velocity of v and it has mass m, then mv square, that much energy it had. When it is at my hand, then still it has energy, that is called potential energy. So when it is hitting my hand, hand at that time, whatever the height is, mgh, that much is the potential energy. And when it hits my hand at that time, whatever the velocity is, mb square plus mgh, that much energy it has. If it is here, it is at rest, then height is more, energy is more. That energy converted into velocity. Now mgh, height is less, potential energy is less. So whatever the height we see here, consider this height is x, then mgx equal to mb square, the velocity at which it hit my hand. Mgx equal to mb square. So the energy computation, when we talk about energy, when it hits the hand, if it hits the ground at that moment, the height is 0. At that time, whatever velocity it had, that much energy it has, mv square. If I catch it at the middle only, then whatever the distance from the ground, that much potential energy it carries. Whatever potential energy here it had, that much difference in potential energy it lost. Equation can be mga, equation can be mb square, equation can be many things, but energy is energy. Energy cannot be created, cannot be destroyed. I don't know it can be created or not. If energy cannot be created, then how universe is made? Anyway, that is a matter of dispute. But certainly energy cannot be destroyed. Energy changes its form, whatever. Energy is constant. Energy is main thing. Energy changes its form. Every form, like potential energy, kinetic energy, changes its form. But if it is changing the form, the net equation to calculate the energy may be different. Form to form, the formula to calculating the energy may be different, but energy is energy. If someone concentrate on energy, then irrespective of the form it takes, the computation will be straightforward. Okay, so we are coming to vector because vector is a science that talks about computation of energy. Okay, if an item is moving from one point and it is making a kind of a closed loop and it is coming on the same point back. Okay, how much is the energy that this item kind of it wasted? How much energy this item kind of it involved? That is better term. If an item is moving in ellipse kind of shape, okay, so much emphasis we are giving on the energy side in the vector because that is perpetual. That if someone understands the concept of energy and he brings the computation in the energy computation, then certainly his formula is not going to fail. No one can falsify it. Now, one item is moving from here and coming back here. Since item is moving, there is energy involved. There is energy involved. Okay. Now, how much energy is involved? How much is energy that is involved? Okay, how much energy is involved? How much is the energy involved? Is the kind of okay. If item is moving, consider item is moving. Item has a fuel inside. Item has fuel inside, and because of the fuel, item I brought some small motor. Because of the internal fuel, it moved from here to here and it came back to here. That is another thing. If item is moving because of there is some force vector is there, like magnetic kind of thing. If there is some law like earth magnetic kind of thing, it is moving. There is no fuel inside this. Still it is moving. Okay, people would say it is moving because earth is attracting. Not true. There is a force field. Under the force field, it is moving. Okay, it is moving because someone is losing energy for you. That is the earth is losing energy for you. Okay, if earth is losing energy for me, if everything drops on the earth, then earth keep on losing the energy. True. If everything drops on the earth, then earth is working and earth is losing energy. Earth, if I say earth energy is path independent, earth, because there is a force. If earth is losing energy, if earth is losing energy, there is a gravitational pull, gravitational force that is active. Invisible force is there that we cannot see. There is an invisible force. That force vector is toward the earth center. One invisible force vector is there. If an invisible force vector is there, and then in that, if I leave anything, it goes with that force. How much is the work done by this guy? Or I would rather say, how much is the energy involved in moving item this to this? It is pulled by earth. That is not true. Energy is involved. If item is moving from here back to here, then someone worked for you. Someone lost energy. Energy involved in that. Okay, anyway, now we into fundamental of curl technology. In vector, curl technology. Curl technology says that if item is moving from one point to other point, if item is moving from one point to other point, if item is moving from this point to this point under a force field. There is a force field. Under a force field, item is moving from this point to this point. Under a force field, item is moving from this point to this point. Okay, how much is the torque that is involved? That is the concept that we are pursuing now. How much is the torque involved because of the force? Okay, if this is the item, if I drop it, if you watch clearly, it is just moving like this only. It is not rotating like this. That is the torque. This earth gravitational pull, it does not generate any torque. This is the what concept people started understanding. One thing was clear: what is path independence and path dependence? Path independence, path dependence. Path independence, path independence means if item is dropping from a point to another point, if item is moving from a point to another point in a particular force field, then force field means there is an energy source. Because of that energy source, force vector is there. Okay, if item is moving from here to here under a force vector, this force vector is generated by one energy source. Earth is energy source. Earth is energy source. If earth is moving around sun, then sun is also energy source. Okay, if moon is rotating around earth, then earth is energy source. But if someone goes toward moon and moon attracts it, means moon is also energy source. Okay, now as per the physics, everything is energy source. If I have two items here, one is energy source and another is also energy source. It is a matter that their very energy source is very less. But if one is mass, if one has mass m, one has mass m, then it attracts another mass small m. Okay, how much is the energy, how much is the force that is involved is minus gmm by r square. This is the formula. How much is the work done, multiply it by r. That much is the work done. Anyway, leave that fundamental. We are into vector mathematics. So vector mathematics, the idea is to find if force field that is generated by one energy source is path independent or not. Path independent means if an item under this force field, if this one item is moving from here to here, from here to here, whatever energy is consumed by the energy source, how much energy source is losing, because under the energy source force field, item is moving from here to here. Okay, if it is moving in a straight line or it is moving in a different path, see how much energy it is losing. If energy losing is constant, means energy lost in energy source is dependent only upon the begin point and the end point. This is called path independence. This is the one proof of saying path independent, path independent. Now people have started thinking about, because they saw earth is path independent. Earth is path independent. If an item here it is situated like this and its energy is mv square, I'm sorry, mgh, that is the potential energy, mgh. If item comes here, the energy is again mgh. Here potential energy is less, potential energy is high. If I drop like this, okay, then an energy lost by this guy, or earth did some work. That work is not dependent upon the path. This point and this point only that may dependent. If I drop an item like this and it comes from this point to this point or directly, doesn't matter. Earth loses same energy. Begin point. This is called path independence in force field. We are covering this very in a detailed fashion, because once energy concept is clear and one vector concept is clear and one synergy between vector and energy, that is clear, then someone can crack anything. Okay, now if that is the scenario, then people saw that what is energy calculation. If vector force field is capital F, that is F1i plus F2j. F1 is the x component and F2 is the y component. If force vector equal to F1i plus F2j, then the net energy calculation is force vector dot d of position vector. Actually, it is force vector into dot displacement vector. D of position vector is also displacement vector only. If this is a circle centered at the origin, then if I take any point here, if I connect from origin, this is called position vector. If I do D of position vector, means differentiation of position vector, then it will become another vector that will be tangential at that point. That is the displacement vector. Every point displacement is tangent at that point. So displacement is going circular fashion. The displacement curve is a circular fashion. At that point, if I take a straight line vector, then every moment it will be perfect. It will be tangent at that point. At any point, if I take position vector and if I do differentiation, it becomes tangent vector. That is a displacement vector. But as per calculus, because we take calculus, we are dealing in algebra. When dealing happens in algebra, let's better go by the calculus rather than directly multiplying anything. So force dot displacement vector is energy. But now if I go through calculus, force dot d of position vector is energy, where this integration lower limit is from point A to point B where it is going. Okay, then if position vector is xi plus yj and force vector is f1i plus f2j, then f1i plus f2j d of xi plus yj d of x dxi plus dyj. If I do dot product f1 dx plus f2 dy, that is the energy computation from one limit to another limit, one point to another point. If f1 dx plus f2 dy, this computation becomes gxy, another algebraic function g. And if dg by dx is f1, dg by dy is f2, then it is called path independent, because net energy calculation g is only dependent upon f1 and f2, because dg by dx is f1, dg by dy is f2. Okay, so G is only dependent upon F1 and F2. It is called path independent, and we proved it that Earth gravitational pull is path independent, because Earth gravitational force is minus Gm divided by minus Gm r vector divided by r to the power 3. Okay, if that is the force field, then I got one algebraic function for which dg by dx is the f1, dg by dy is f2, and dg by dz is f3 in minus gm r vector divided by r to the power 3. Please watch our previous video. So Earth, now people started thinking, is there another way we can prove? Okay, leave it. Now we are into energy computation. Consider if we are calculating energy, because F1 dx plus F2 dy from point A to B, that is the energy that is involved. Okay, either that particle gained or not, I don't know, but energy source lost that much energy. Energy source lost that much energy. If that is the case, then how much energy is involved when particle moving from point A to A if it is path independent? If it is path independent, not dependent upon the path, only dependent upon the force field, and begin point and end point, if begin point is A and end point is A, then energy involved is zero as per the path independence. Okay, if it is not path independent, and A to A means it is moving in a closed loop. A to A means it is moving in a closed loop. If it is moving in a closed loop, if item is moving in a closed loop from point A and back to point A in a closed loop, then if it is path independent, since point is from same point to same point, means no energy involved, because energy involved is dependent upon the force field and begin point and end point. But if it is path dependent, then how much the particle is absorbing energy when it is moving from this point and coming back to this point, when the energy source or force field is path dependent. If it is path dependent, if it is path dependent, then still energy computation is same, force vector dot displacement vector, or force vector dot d of position vector. That is integral calculus. So if particle is moving from here and under this force vector, from here and coming back to here, if it is path dependent, then force vector dot or multiplication with the displacement is the net energy consumed by this or spent by the energy source. If this is bigger, so if this is bigger or if this is very small, since net energy computation is force vector into displacement, then energy here, that part if there is an energy source kept here, and this is a force field because of energy source. Because of this force field, a particle is rotating in this direction. If it is rotating from this point and coming back to this point again, the energy computation is force field multiplied by the displacement. If displacement is less, then it will consume less energy from the energy source. If it is path independent, then though no energy source, no energy is involved because begin point and end point is same. Okay, if it is path dependent, then energy involved will be less because the displacement is less. If this is big, then energy involved will be bigger, more. Okay, then question arises is how much is the energy? Now, energy involved is force vector dot into displacement vector. Coarse term I am saying, not very fine granularity. Fine granularity will be F vector dot D of position vector integration in a closed loop. That is fine granularity. Okay, that is the fine granularity. Okay, but if that is fine granularity, but we understand now if it is path dependent, then from A to A, doesn't matter it is circular or not, from A to A, if I unwind it, it becomes this much. This much path it traveled, and that much is the energy involved. If I make it smaller, then A to A means this much only. This much path it traveled. Okay, if that is the case, then energy computation from the energy source is dependent upon the force field and the displacement it made, even though it is circular, even though it is a closed loop. Okay, now question arising is what is the tendency? What is the tendency? I'm missing something. Everyone would say, I'm missing something. What are you missing? If energy is force, computation is dependent upon force and displacement. If I am if I am increasing displacement, the energy computation is more. Okay, if that is the case, then can I find something constant out here? Energy computation is not constant over the distance. If you grow the distance, if you grow the distance, if you grow the distance, then energy computation is growing. If I grow the magnitude of the force, again energy computation is growing. If distance is same, if force vector field, the magnitude of the force is more. If it is moving item from same distance, energy computation is more. Is there anything constant out here? What is constant we are talking about? Okay, now I'm just claiming here. Okay, I ran 100 meter in 5 seconds. Okay, I ate this much banana and I drank this much milk and I ate this much dates. Okay, these are powerful items. And then I ran 100 meter in 5 seconds. Okay, now there is a 100 meter Olympic champion comes into the picture, and he is saying he ran 100 meter in 10 seconds. Who people will believe on whom? People will believe on the kind of Olympic champion, not on me, because they know my nature. My nature is not that I am supposed to run. But if I say like that, then people will say that no, not possible. I'll show you video. I'll show. Then it will be kind of something that someone has manipulated the video. Not possible. Why it's not possible? Because I know your nature. I know your nature. Okay. I know Olympic champion's nature. Even though he covered distance in 10 seconds, but he may do it. I know his nature. Similarly, if I say how to find the nature of the energy source, if nature of the energy source is independent, path independent, then from point A to point A, energy computation is zero. Okay, if it is not path dependent, if it is path independent, if it is path independent by nature, there is no energy involved if begin point and end point are same. Okay, but if begin point and end point are same and energy involved is there, now it brings a door to nature of the energy source. One nature of the energy source is it is path independent. But if it is path dependent, if there is energy involved when item is moving from one point and coming back to the same point and still energy is involved, then it is path dependent. If it is path dependent, if it is path dependent, then it opens a door of nature of the energy source. What is the nature of the energy? How much is the path dependency is? Okay, okay, this is white. This is white. I am saying this is white. Okay, and this is not white. This is white. If I say this item is white, people will keep quiet. Just take my word. What is the color of the item? Item is white. What is color of the item? Item is not white. Suddenly he will, suddenly, immediately, he will ask what is the color. If item is white, then no problem. If item is not white, then it opens a door of millions of color. Similarly, if energy is path independent, then no problem. You know that in a closed loop, traveling from one point to same point back, energy involved is zero. No energy expenditure from the energy source. But if energy source is path dependent, then there is energy involvement when item is moving from this point to this point back, or item is moving in a circular fashion, then what is energy involved? Because it is path dependent. Item is moving in electrical form, then what is the energy involved? Item is moving in a parabolic form, what is the energy involved? If that is the case, then people try to find out what is the nature of this energy. If I have 50 different energy source and all are path dependent, then all have different nature. If I have 50 energy source and all are path independent, then no problem. All are same. But all are path dependent, then their nature are different. If I say I have 50 color and all are white, then no problem. But if I have 50 colors and all are not white, then there is problem. Then you have to find what are the colors. Similarly, what are the energy? What are the energy source? It is this. No. Tell me the nature of the energy source. What is the inherent nature of the energy source? What are you talking about? I don't know what I am talking about, but every energy source has different nature. What is the nature of energy source? That is the thing that we are pursuing. I'm taking little time, but this is what we are trying to understand. Okay, now people try to understand what is the nature of energy. Energy source nature comes in its vector field, the force field. Force field, force field signifies what is the nature of energy source. I, I, I signifies what is the nature of the brain. This is generally called. People they watch your eye and reading your eye, they understand what is behind the eye brain. Eye is the eye is called it is representative of the brain. Okay, the way I am moving or way anyone is moving his eyes. Looking at the eyes, people understand what kind of nature this person contains. Okay. Similarly, looking at the force field, people try to understand the nature of energy source. Okay. If that is the scenario, if force field, I'm saying item is moving from this location to this location, this location to this location. Okay. Item is moving. If it is moving from this location to this location to this location, then I can consider this movement is in two parts. I have described it already. From this location to this location, one part, this location to this location, another part. Okay. Now I have a force field like this. Force field, since it is a vector, it has two components. X axis component is F1, Y axis component is F2. If item is moving in a vertical direction, then F2 will come, then F1 will come into the picture. I mean, this is F1. If F1 is changing along Y axis, if item is moving horizontal direction, F2 will come into the picture. If F2 is changing horizontally, F1 is changing vertically, means here F1 is different. If I go in Y direction and see F1 is different. If two F1 are different, it will produce torque on it. Otherwise, it will push it. If same F1 is there, it will push it the way Earth is doing. It is pulling it as it is. It is not placing any torque. If Earth gravitational pull here, it is different. Earth gravitational pull, here it is different, then it will make a torque. Similarly, if F1 is different on the y, dF1 by dy is different, has some value, it's not zero. And dF2 by dx is different. Here it will place torque like this. Here it will place torque like this. Only two possibilities are possible in two dimensions. Three dimensional other possibilities are possible. So these two possibilities, this line and this line. This is x-axis, this is y-axis. Y-axis, x-axis. Okay, if we are talking about this kind of thing, this is torque because of dF1 by dy is not zero. This is producing torque because dF2 by dx is not zero. If this torque is there and this torque is not there, still item moving from here to here in this displacement, it will feel torque because of the force, because dF1 by dx is there. If dF1 by dx is zero, dF1 by dy is zero, but dF2 by dx is there, then while moving from here to here under the force field, the item will feel torque in this direction. If this torque and this torque is zero, one scenario is dF1 by dy is zero, dF2 by dy is zero, dF2 by dx is zero. Item moving from here to here and there is no torque like that. If there is no torque like that, then this is called path independent. Or there is a torque from dF1 by dy and there is a torque from dF2 by dx. If they nullify each other, still item can move nicely from here to here without any kind of curl or torque in the picture. If that is the case, dF2 by dx equal to dF1 by dy, then again it is path independent, or dF2 by dx minus dF1 by dy equal to 0. Again it is path independent. Okay, now people started calling this is the nature of energy source. Is it producing torque or not? If it is producing torque more, then it is more path dependent. If it is producing less torque, then it is less path dependent. If it is producing no torque, then it is path independent. Okay, means if dF2 by dx equal to dF1 by dy, or dF2 by dx minus dF1 by dy equal to 0, or dF2 by dx minus dF1 by dy equal to k, k is 0 to infinite. The way k is going away from 0, more it is path dependent. If it is more path dependent, the force field is more path dependent, then energy that is sucked from the energy source when item is moving in a closed loop will be more. Okay, now that is the case. Now consider, now last time I was giving example, last video I was giving example, the force field is minus and then in bracket y plus 1 I. This is the equation of force field. Force field is minus y plus 1 bracket close minus bracket open y plus 1 bracket close I. If that is the case, consider this is x-axis. Then we are moving along y-axis. Coming back to x-axis, we are moving along minus y-axis. This is x-axis. Here the force field is y equal to 0. Minus I. Force is going in opposite direction. Minus I. If I go y in 10, then it becomes minus 10I. Force is again going along the minus x-axis, but power is high. Power is growing of the force. If I go in negative direction, here it is 10, minus 10, minus 10 plus 1, minus 9, 9. Force is in positive x direction. So if I move along this, force is growing. When y equal to minus 1, then there is no force, 0. But after that, if I move, force will become stronger, and along x-axis. Here if I move, force will become stronger along minus x-axis. What is the tendency of torque? Force, what is the energy? If this force vector is because of some energy source that is kept somewhere, because of that energy source, this force vector is there. What is the nature of the torque that is produced by this energy source? dF2 by dx minus dF1 by dy. dF2 by dx, there is no F2, so this is gone. Minus df1 by dy minus df1 by dy. If that is the case, f1 is minus y plus 1 by dy. It will become minus 1. Minus 1 is the nature of the energy. So that much torque it can generate. Hey, what are you saying? How it can generate a torque when a force is only in I direction? Force is only in I direction. Minus braces y plus 1 braces close I. Neither it has j component, neither it has k, nor it has k component. How it will generate torque? It will generate torque. If force is growing heavier, if I go along x-axis and direction is minus x-axis, then from x-axis, if I go down, force is again becoming heavier, but along x-axis, if you keep any item like this, then this side it will pull like this, and this side it will pull like this. It will generate a torque. How much it is? It is minus 1. The nature of the torque is minus 1. df2 by dx minus df1 by dy. df2 by dx gone, minus df1 by dy minus 1. 1. Oh, minus 1. df1 by dy. Oh, so I'm sorry. Minus and then df1 by dy. f1 is minus y plus 1. Minus 1. Minus plus. The torque direction is plus. In what direction? K direction. If this is x-axis, this is y-axis. If torque is happening, this is the surface of the torque. Then direction is along k-axis. I believe if this is I and this is j. Okay, what is the fundamental? This is I and this is j. Then z vector is towards me. Okay, the direction. Now it is rotating in this direction. Constant. If it is rotating in anti-clockwise, okay, anti-clockwise, whatever it is, df2 by dx minus df1 by dy is 1. The direction means this is also called df2 by dx minus df1 by dy k vector. Along the z-axis that is coming towards me, it is rotating in anti-clockwise direction. If I take a rod from here, and rod I rotate in anti-clockwise direction, that is considered as positive. Okay, then it would rotate like this. That is the direction of the movement. This is called nature of the kind of energy source. This energy source vector field is force field is minus y plus 1 bracket close I vector. The net torque it can generate is 1. Okay, now we will see circulation density and Green's theorem again. Green is saying under this force, if you compute energy in a closed loop, then it will be df2 by dx minus df1 by dy dx dy integration over the closed loop. This is what Mr. Green's theorem is saying. Okay, if that is the case, then how much is the energy involved? That is df2 by dx minus df1 by dy, that is 1 dx dy in a closed loop. Closed loop is a circle. So in this force field, if I take a circle that is centered at the origin and it has radius a, then I have to compute df2 by dx minus df1 by dy dx dy integration over the circular region. X is minus a to a and y is minus square root of a square minus x square to square root of a square minus x square. If that is the case, then that is the energy calculation as per the Green's theorem in a closed loop. If energy source is path dependent, then it will become calculating a volume of fxy is 1 dx dy, okay, over a circular region. Now that is nothing but calculating a volume of a cylinder whose height is 1. That is same as the surface area of the circuit. So if I take in radius a, then it is pi a square. Pi a square. If radius is 1, then pi. Otherwise pi a square. That much means energy is dependent upon the a. Can you see? Pi a square is the energy that is liberated from the energy. So it is losing the energy under this gravitational force, under this force field minus y plus 1 I. Under this force field, if I place a circle centered at the origin, an item is moving in anti-clockwise, one point to coming back to same point, energy lost by the energy source is pi a square. If you keep on increasing the radius, then it becomes pi a square, bigger and bigger, more and more energy are computed from the energy source. What is energy density? I'm sorry, circulation density, energy density. What is circulation density? Means how much energy is lost because of energy source if the item is moving in a closed loop whose area is 1. Right now area is pi. If it is a circle, the energy computation is pi a square. Pi a square. Okay, how much is the energy computation if it is a unit area? Then pi a square by pi a square 1. Oh, that 1 is same, right? What we got df2 by dx minus df1 by dy. There also it was 1. And then based upon that Green's theorem, I calculated the net energy from point A to back to point A, and it came as pi a square. If I talk about energy density, how much is the energy spent by energy source if I move in a closed loop that area is 1, then whatever energy is computed in the particular area divided by the area, that is pi a square by pi a square 1, that is nothing but df2 by dx minus df1 by dy. Means circulation density, energy density, circulation density, that is circulation density means how much energy is involved moving in a curve that comes from one point back to one point divided by the area it forms. That is called circulation density. Circulation density is nothing but df2 by dx minus df1 by dy only, the curl factor. So that energy source is energy source is losing because one item is moving from one point back to that point divided by the region it is making. That is df2 by dx minus df1 by dy. That is the nature of the energy source. Hope. df2 by dx minus df1 by dy, it has nothing to do with the curve length. Curve type means energy density, circular density is not dependent upon the path. From one point coming back to same point, it is a circular, it is an ellipse, it is whatever it is. The circular density is same. If you take ellipse, then calculate the energy involved moving item one point to that point back, divide it by the area, that is circulation density or energy density. That will be same as you move an item in a closed loop in a circle, or circle radius is a small, big, whatever. Doesn't matter. Okay, only thing matter is the force df2 by dx minus df1 by dy. Change in the force means that is the nature of the force field, and that is nature of the energy field. People now, if it is path dependent also, people try to find out the nature of the energy source. That's df2 by dx, df1 by dy. That is the curling factor or torque factor of energy source, or it is 0. What is your nature of energy source? Nature of my energy source is 0. Means it is path independent. What is nature of an energy source? Nature of my energy source is 1k. Means 1 is the magnitude of the energy source and k is in the k direction. This is what df2 by dx minus df1 by dy I with by k. This is what we saw the calculating the curve. We'll proceed on this in 3 dimension also, and more we will see. Very interesting. Energy is very interesting. That's why Sir Albert Einstein is considered as the greatest scientist in the recent era. I won't say full era because in the modern history, past history is very big thing and very different. But anyway, in the modern history, still people know the history. Since the kind of Gautam Buddha, people know the history. Prior to that, history has vanished. Since then, he is the kind of considered as the only scientist who concentrated on energy. If you see Newton, then Newton has 3 laws: first law, second law, third law. If you see anyone, either it is Darwin or this and that, there are many laws: first law, second law, third law. This law. Einstein has only one law: energy equal to mass into velocity square. He did not give second formula because energy is constant everywhere. It changes its form. That's it. So he concentrated on energy rather than forms. If you go one form to another form, the formula changes. Potential energy is not mass into velocity square. Potential energy is mass into gravitational pull. the acceleration into the distance, mgh. If you talk about fire energy, then it will involve the temperature also. You calculate the temperature and so many things. Then you will know calculate the energy of the fire. But everywhere, one thing is constant, that is joule. How much is the energy? That much is in joule. Okay, so I can generate my body power into fire energy, or fire energy I can generate into body power. If you take a water and put a fire, it will become a kind of, it will evaporate. Water would evaporate. That steam, if I push in train, then that fire becomes fire becomes a kinetic energy. So it changes its form, but energy is same. If someone focus on energy, then it is constant discussion. We are bringing energy into vector and calculus. It is not there in any of the book. You can check. Energy in vector and calculus, this is what we are bringing. It is not there anywhere else. Please do support us. +91 is the India country code. 9483160610 is the telephone number. 9483160610 is the telephone number. +91 is the India country code.